Greetings and salutations. This is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
We are bringing you today the Corinthians. You may have heard of the Corinthian Helmet. Well, the reason it's called that is because it was found in Corinth, not invented there. But the first helmet was found in Corinth, so they called it the Corinthian Helmet. And then they found them all over the world and went, oh, you know what? It's just a Greek helmet. But the Corinthian Helmet comes from Corinth, and I have deliberately avoided giving every single soldier a Corinthian helmet because of that. I even gave one an Athenian helmet, which is the one which has the entire face encased in armour.
But then you can't see through it.
You can see through it, and there's even ear holes. So it's very much like a knight's helmet from the Crusade type period.
Because knights
It's a complete enclosed helmet, yeah.
I mean, it's dangerous for knights. You just can't see what you're hitting them.
You don't need to. You just swing your sword around, and eventually when you don't feel yourself hitting anyone, you've won the battle.
If you hear yourself hitting, banging metal, it's a mate
You've
next
hit one
to
of
you.
your mates, yeah. And if you hear something sort of tapping lightly on the side of your helmet, it's probably an enemy soldier trying to get in.
You just need to swing.
Yeah, you just swing, and then he dies. And yeah, because like killing a knight is really hard. Killing a Corinthian is quite hard too. They were good soldiers. So Corinth. Corinth started off as a pretty normal place where Greeks lived. But it ended up being on one of the major trade routes because of the geographical position. When the Greeks went around to inventing ships, they needed to sail up and down to sell stuff all over. So if you need to get to Syracuse, you have to pass Corinth. You have to stop at Corinth first. If you need to go to Egypt, if you're going from the opposite direction, then you have to go through Corinth first. Generally, you didn't sail across the ocean. You sailed along the, more or less within sight of land the whole time. You didn't cross the Mediterranean. So you had to go past Corinth, and it ended up being a very opulent, very rich little bit of Greece. Run originally by a king. They had a go at democracy for about a fortnight and then gave up, and then they went back to having generals in charge, who again became kings. So not that bad a system. They were what was that?
The tax
just started running by itself. That was very strange. Right, the Corinthians had a Pegasus. Pegasi?
Unicorn.
No, unicorns don't have wings.
No, they do.
No, they don't.
They do.
No, they don't. Unicorns are just horses with a pointy horn thing. And
I've never ever watched a Disney film apart from Star Wars.
They actually predate Disney films by a considerable amount of time. And I'm so sorry you've seen Star Wars by Disney. I apologise. I'm sorry I have failed as a father. God, don't even
I'm talking about Force Awakens, not Last Jedi.
Oh, actually, I like Force Awakens. I think Finn was the best character in that, regardless of what anyone on the internet says. I don't know why people don't like Finn. He's awesome. He's brilliant. He's just an everyman stormtrooper. He's how I would be if I was a stormtrooper. Just dropping your blaster on day one in combat. It's just me. That's me. That's great. Just panicking, freaking out, going and hiding.
That's probably because you can't be bothered.
Yeah, I'm too lazy.
Oh look, there's enemies over there. I'm just going to go chill over here.
Well, if I was in Star Wars, I'd be a guy sat at a desk that presses the red button. That's all I'd do. That's my job. Or maybe polishing the floors. I could do that with one of those little robot things. I could do that. Sorry, we've got sidetracked. Corinth. Corinth held the games, the famous games in Greece. They had amphitheatre, water sports facilities. It was great.
The World Cup.
The World Cup, yeah, the World Cup.
With spears.
With Greeks.
And shields.
It was only Greeks.
Lots of stabbing.
Yeah. I would say the Egyptians too, but the Egyptians were Greek at the time. So, so yeah, it was quite nice. Decent place to live. Probably quite a high standard of living. Not much in the way of peasants. Slaves had the same rights as they did in Athens, so that's quite good. Yeah, quite a nice place to be. And then the Persians came. So they decided that the best battle plan for the Greco-Persian War would be to have everyone retreat to Corinth and then defend Corinth. That was their idea. Obviously, everybody who didn't live in Corinth said that was a really bad idea, except the Arcadians, who lived behind the Corinthians, and they said it's great because then all the wars would take place in Corinth, so we didn't even have to bother. But in the end, they ended up going with the other guy's plan. The guy on the boat. The guy in the film 300. Themistocles. Him. They went with his idea in the end.
Why can't it sound like Alex and James?
Alexander's a Greek name.
He has a normal name though. It's just normal.
Dude, it's a Greek name.
Yeah, okay, then why do you have names like Aminurestos?
Because that's a foreign name. That's a Greek name.
It's a Greek name.
It's just, I don't know. Just silly names.
Alex and Arimanestos.
Arimanestos and Alex, yeah. Well, if you live in Greece and someone's called Arimanestos, you wouldn't think there was anything strange about that.
No, I would.
Yeah. So the Corinthian commander at the time, Adimantus, there, I've got his name right. Adimantus was the guy in charge. He was a very good singer, popular singer at the time. And he, oh, never mind. Do you know who Adam and the Ants are? No. Oh God, I am so old. Well, he's in prison now anyway for fiddling kids. But when I was young, he was a pop icon. So he used to dress as a highwayman and have sort of paint on his cheeks and stuff. Did he sang Stand and Deliver? You heard of the guy?
Never
dressed
heard
as a highwayman.
Never heard of him.
And shot people.
Oh yes. Grandma showed me it.
Stand and Deliver, Dad, money all your life.
Grandma showed me it.
Grandma.
Grandma showed me it.
Good God, we're all there.
Is it the one where he's on the tree?
Yeah, I think, yeah. It's a rubbish video.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And let's face it, he was a rubbish singer. And an even worse human being, as it turned out. So, Adamantus was the Corinthian commander, and he got into a fisticuff fight with the one of the Athenian generals who had been sent to the meeting in Corinth to decide what on earth they were going to do about the Persians invading. A chap called Aristides. They got into a bit of a shouting match. Lots of things were said. In the end, they actually won. The Athenians won the argument, mainly because the Athenians had already committed troops to battle, and Adamantus was saying, really, well, you're not really involved in the war yet, but the Athenians already were, so that kind of gave them a little bit more manoeuvring room when it came to negotiating the overall battle plan. You see, what they were trying to do is get all the Greek city-states, of which there were over 150, to work together, to form one joint command. And so you're going to have a lot of arguments when you're trying to do that, because the Greek states were fiercely independent, and they all hated each other.
Democracy at its finest.
Well, most weren't democracies. There were probably more democracies in Persia than there were in Greece at the time. But anyway, besides the point. So anyway, these are Corinthian soldiers. They did originally send troops to fight in the early war against the Persians. Of course, they fought in the Second War. Now, they became a little bit more famous during the Peloponnesian War, when the Spartans and the Athenians went to war with each other. There was vying over who should control the islands south of Corinth. And so that put Corinth on the front line of the actual war, and they sided along with the Arcadians to fight against the Athenians. Although for a little bit of the time they're actually allied to the Spartans. So it's complicated. So, any questions about these guys?
Yeah, why Pegasus?
Because it's a flying horse. How cool can you get?
Yeah, why do they have Pegasus?
Because that's where Pegasus lived. So that's where Pegasus lived there.
But Pegasus doesn't exist.
Okay, right. The Greeks, actually, all right. This is going to be an interesting one. The Greeks believed the Greek legends were true.
Okay.
However, there was also a popular thing in Greece where people did not believe the legends were true, but believed they were embellishments of actual legends. Like Cadmus never actually found a dragon to fight.
Okay.
Right? Maybe Hercules just fought a normal lion and killed it. It's not a magic lion.
What about Hydra?
Interesting one of the Hydra. He actually wrote, a few years later after this, there was a guy who wrote a book for Christians. When Greece was becoming Christian, a lot of Christians were saying, hang on, none of that stuff's true. All these Greek legends. And so he actually wrote a book proving how all the Greek legends were true, so Christians would believe it. Because the Christians at the time really didn't believe in magic, sort of mystical creatures and stuff. And so he said that the Hydra, the multiple heads of the Hydra was a dragon with only one head. Incidentally, everyone believed in dragons back then. So, but the other heads were the heads of its children. So it wasn't just one Hydra, it was one dragon and its children all snapping away, making it look like it had multiple heads, which explains why when you cut one head off, two more come in, because it's the young all climbing over each other to get to you. No, seriously, that's the explanation as to the Hydra. Yeah, it is a proper explanation. I don't know why you're looking at me like that for. I didn't write this stuff. What? You're going to say dragons aren't real now, aren't you? I've seen them on Game of Thrones. I know they're real.
Oh, God.
Look, people have been digging bones up of very large animals for a long time, right?
Doesn't mean a dragon flying around and burn people alive.
No, but it means that very large creatures must have existed, and given that at the time the Greeks and everyone else didn't know the Earth was billions of years old, they thought, well, this thing's only just died recently. Because even the Greeks would know that bones don't last that long in the ground. Not normally, anyway.
Yeah, they do. Fossils.
Very few things get fossilised. Most bones just turn to dust. You have to be extreme conditions for fossilisation to take place. Like being hit by a volcano. That helps. But, I know that's not the same thing, so no one complain.
Too late.
No, I don't care.
Someone's already...
someone's already started typing. We do that. So, you find dead body. You find, well, millions of years old dead dinosaurs. 65 million years old dead dinosaurs. And, hey, this existed recently. This is actually the skeleton of a dragon. That's where all these legends come from.
But it's a dinosaur.
They didn't know dinosaurs existed.
Anyway.
What?
About Pegasus.
Well, what else you want to know about Pegasus? Flying horse.
You said nothing.
I'm sorry, you can't say flying horses don't exist. Because that's illegal. That is against law in Britain today. If I said on this YouTube video that flying horses do not exist, I could go to prison for hate speech. So I categorically say flying horses totally exist and can fly to the moon without the aid of a spacesuit.
And crack it in half.
And crack it in half too. All true.
I believe that too.
It is against the law in Britain to say it's not. Right? So let's remember, we now live in a post-factual reality where it is illegal to tell the truth. Therefore, it is the ultimate truth. Flying horses exist. Therefore, Pegasus existed. Yes. You can argue now.
No. I totally agree with that statement.
Yep. There we go. Proved it. See? See how good I am? I'm good at that. Welcome to Britain in the modern era. It's illegal to say flying horses don't exist. And they do. In case anyone's thinking I don't. I totally believe in them. And I believe a man flew to the moon on a flying horse without a spacesuit. That's what happened. So there we go. There we have it. Do you think that was enough?
Yeah.
Do you think I'll get away with it?
Yeah.
Thanks. That's a bit weird. Do I need to pack my bags now and flee to Russia?
Fine.
Right. I think that's the end of the video.
So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe and comment down below what you think of the Carthaginians. That's it from me.
Not Carthaginians.
You said the Carthaginians.
The Corinthians. We're going to be doing Carthaginians later. That's
God damn it.
Later video.
It sounds the same.
And they're early Carthaginians anyway, so it doesn't matter. Alright, these are the Corinthians.
Carthaginians.
Carthaginians are completely different people.
That's very friendly.
And they weren't even called Carthaginians. Where do you get the name Carthaginian from? They're not called, they were called the Punics. If you went back in time there and said, I'm trying to find where the Carthaginians live, and they'd be like, don't know. Well, there's always a city of Carthage, but I never heard of a Carthaginian. Illiterate TV people we have to deal with these days. Right, outro.
If you enjoyed this video, please like. I said that.
Yeah, you said that already.
Save it from me.
And wind horses exist. So there we go. It's goodbye from him. Goodbye.